Welcome to the Ringer Gambling Show. I'm your host, Tate Frazier. We hope everybody had a happy holiday weekend, even those that had to suffer through the Carolina football game last night, like myself. And I'm joined, as always, by the great Cousin Sal. Sal, good to see you. You're already snickering and laughing at me. How you doing today?
I love it. I mean, I hate it for you, but I love it too. Now you know how I feel when I have to go on with Simmons after a big Cowboys loss on Sunday Night Football or, something like that. But this, I know you follow this Carolina team. You had high hopes. Was this one of the biggest losses you've suffered in years? Please say yes. It makes it a bigger moment.
I think yes is the right answer. I
Okay.
did suffer through the JMU game last year when they put up 70 points in Kenan Stadium. So I have seen dark days. Our producer, Cal Crichton, was texting me last night and was concerned about my well-being. I told him I was born in the darkness of Carolina football. Bill Belichick merely just adopted it, and now he learns that doesn't matter if you're the greatest coach ever, Sal. You're still going to come back to earth when you coach for Carolina, and it was great to see all the stars there, and they all left by the end of the third quarter, so that was a nice
Yeah.
moment. It was tough to see. Do you think that this is the beginning of the end, Sal, or do you feel like is this my Micah Parsons trade? Like I don't know how to spin this forward.
Yeah, it is good that we both get to share some misery, gigantic size misery. When you say great coaches come down to earth, you're talking about Freddie Kitchens in that first drive.
Of
For
course.
Carolina, they scored, and no, that was exciting. That's what sucks about the whole thing. Like when they score that touchdown, you're like, oh my God, we can compete for the national championship. And then TCU just beat him up. I mean, listen, I'm not going to question his scheming or his way of coaching because he's very successful, but you cannot give up 48 points every week, right? He's not planning on doing that, is he, Belichick?
No, I don't think so. I hope this is
Okay.
not a strategy. That was the most points he has ever given up as a head coach, Sal, in case you were, keeping up last night. And also, like you said, that opening drive, we'll have that forever. I had people reaching out to me I hadn't heard from in years saying, congratulations, Bill Belichick to the CFP. And then they never texted me back. So I don't
That
know
was
what
it?
happened. Yeah, I didn't hear back from anyone else after that. So I
Can
find
we
that
stop
fascinating.
with the whole Belichick's going to retire with the most college wins talk? I know you were saying that. I know you said he could challenge Paterno.
Yeah.
Was he at 409? But it
Mhm.
really just doesn't look good right now, right?
Yeah, a lot of people forget that on this show, or a different iteration of this show, Through the Ringer, we talked about Bill Belichick. I said that he should come back to college. I said he could be
Right.
on the Mount Rushmore, and win a national championship and a Super Bowl. I don't feel as good about that right now, Sal. And if I'm looking at the odds, there
Yeah,
is
let's
some
do
value.
that. I'd
Yeah,
love to do that.
there's some
Go ahead.
ACC value potentially, plus 5,000 for Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels to turn this thing around and win the ACC. Now, last time North Carolina made the ACC championship game, Sal, they lost their first game against South Carolina. Then they ended up
Yeah.
going 11-1. Is that possible? Do you like the odds of? I can't even say it. Do you
I
like
want
the
to go
odds of
through their
plus?
schedule. Simmons does this to me when I'm down on a
Okay.
team, and then you just go through the rest of the schedule. The good news is, though, Tate, it is plus 10,000 now.
Oh,
So you get
perfect.
100-1
Shoot 'em
odds that Bill Belichick. When did Bill Belichick ever have 100-1 odds to win a
Hmm.
division, to win a conference, to win in anything? So that is interesting. Their over/under win total is not out yet. I'm sorry. I'm gonna make you. I have to
Under.
make you. I'm gonna make you squirm a little. 50-1 that they make the playoffs. That's nice.
That should be 5 million to 1. What
You're
kind
not
of
taking
odds
that?
Yeah, come on, FanDuel, help us with the odds there a little bit.
All right.
I
Let's
don't-
see their schedule though. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see.
Yeah, this is a great bid. This is one of my favorite Bill Simmons
It's
bids.
isn't it the
from my
best?
times.
It makes you
Yes.
feel so good. It's so therapeutic. Okay, you're at Charlotte. In-state rival, right? Can you win that game? Can you try to win that game at least?
What the line's at least like 16 or something like that.
Good question. That's a
16
very.
and a half, somewhere around there. I
Is
feel
that
like that.
all it is?
If
Oh
I'm
my
going to guess
God.
the lines, I think it's around there, which is a little bit concerning. Also, Sal, in case you didn't know,
Yeah.
Connor Harrell, the starting quarterback for Charlotte, guess where he
Right.
played last year? North Carolina.
Oh, for you guys. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Little redemption game for Connor Harrell potentially. Obviously, a lot of Charlotte fans will be excited.
All right.
I
So
wouldn't
that's
say it's a
14 and a half. That's
Yeah.
14 and a half is
Wouldn't
what it is.
guarantee that as a win.
Yeah. Home against Richmond. Feisty Spiders. You
Gotta
know
win
that?
that game. Shout out to Todd McShay. I believe he was a Richmond quarterback once upon a time. I love the
All right.
Spiders. Danny Heifetz, another Richmond Spider that's in our world. But yeah, I think I'll take the Tar Heels in that game. So 2-1. We're above 500 at
2-1.
that point. Yeah.
And then
okay,
you go
feel
to
good.
UCF. What did they do? They struggled a
Scott
little this
Frost
week. I
looked
can't remember.
horrible in his
Yeah.
first game, so that's encouraging. But again, so did Bill Belichick, so I would call that an even 50-50 draw there. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but if you're 2-2, you're still at 500.
You know, it's a shame because he had you won that game and last night, just 4-0 home against Clemson would have been the biggest thing. The
Right.
biggest thing since, yeah,
Sliced
what's it
bread.
called? Jobberly? What's the one you like there? Bojangles? Yeah.
Bojangles.
Since they opened a first franchise. So, yeah, I don't know. At California, home for Virginia,
Hmm.
at Syracuse, home for Stanford. There's some cupcakes on there. You're going to be favored in a lot of those games. At Wake Forest, it was terrible. Scored 10 points. Home for Duke. Boy, this schedule's not awful. Ending at NC State.
It's all about peaking at the end of the season,
Yeah,
Sal. As long as it's trending up in some way, and a good, kind of spin on this is that they can't get any worse, right? It can't go any lower.
that's right.
So that
All right.
is some encouraging news. But again,
So
the Bill
100 to
Belichick
1
era,
for
not so good.
ACC, 50 to 1 for playoffs. Tate's all in.
Hmm.
You want to talk about the rest of the college slate? Who you
Let's
were
do
impressed
it.
with? Who you didn't?
I'm ready to start tampering with all the best players in college football. So that is my job as I watch all these other games, it leads me to my simple question, you, Sal. Who impressed you the most week one? We got week 0. We got those takes away. But week 1 in college football, who was the most impressive team, coach, performance that you saw?
Well, I guess is LSU. And by the way, we should point out you went 3-1 with your picks. I
Oh, yeah.
completely botched that one. I had Clemson. You had LSU there, but Nussmeier looked like he could do it and do it against high-ranking defenses too, and on the road. And they get the monkey off their back with that first win. That first game that they always lose in late August.
Hmm.
So I think Nussmeier. I think LSU. They impressed me. And Florida State, what could you say? That was a 2-touchdown underdog. I don't know if they're back, but impressive win over Alabama for sure. What'd you think?
Yeah, if you watch the opening drives of Carolina and Alabama, you would have thought to yourself, well, those teams will definitely win those games and definitely be really good football teams. Now, the hard part is that if you watch the rest of those games, you would say, what happened to that opening drive?
Yeah.
It was totally different after that opening drive for Alabama. They run 7 minutes off the clock. They're basically
Right.
dominating. Caden Proctor, their left tackles, pushing and throwing guys all over the place. And then Tommy Castellanos got on the field and changed everything. He said before the game, Nick Saban will not save you. A lot of people thought that was a bold move, bold proclamation, but he backed it up and then some. So, yeah, FSU to me, they were the most impressive team. It was fun to see Doak Campbell Stadium rocking again. I'm someone that has a little bit of a soft spot for the Bobby Bowden era. So to see Florida State have a moment, it feels like it's, a long time removed from the Jameis Winston Jimbo days. So that was really
Yeah.
cool to see. Good to see them kind of send a message to the rest of the college football world. And Danny Cannell, who took a lot of gripe last season after they completely spiraled. I know it was a big win for him, and good to see like Peter Warwick on the sidelines. I mean, Dalvin Cook, all types of FSU guys bouncing around. So that was a lot of
But
fun.
I know, but you're a UNC fan. You can't have new teams in the ACC be good, right? Like when
Sal,
FSU
one
wins,
thing
when
about
Miami
Carolina
wins.
football is that you're already moving on. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Week one
see. Okay.
happens, and then you start looking at the other teams in the ACC. You start finding teams you like. You know what I mean? You have to move on quickly. You can't harp on it, but so much.
Yeah.
FSU, LSU, we like both those teams. Let's talk about the Heisman, though, Sal. We love the futures here. We'll obviously do some track to the futures in a little bit, but Heisman odds, Arch Manning was the favorite.
Yeah.
After week 1, he is no longer the favorite, and he is trending down. Who do you think should be trending up, and who do you like after your first impression?
So it is Garrett Nussmeier, who we discussed on LSU, led him to a
Hmm.
big victory. He's 8-1 now. He's the favorite. Lenora Sellers, who had a nice game, although I think that punt return was just that's what did in Virginia Tech. So maybe not so much Sellers, 10-1. And then Carson Beck, Miami. Interesting when a 24-year-old quarterback faces a 19-year-old quarterback. We try to make bets and everything and be on the right side of the handicapping ledger, but maybe that's it. Maybe and whenever a 24-year-old quarterback is going against a 19-year-old, take the elder statesman 11-1. I think I like Jackson Arnold and what he did with Auburn,
Ooh,
18 to
yeah.
1, right? Oklahoma core. I think he goes in there. That is an interesting one. They may not win enough for him to get that, but I kind of like that number right now. I think we should talk about though Texas and Ohio State. Like Arch Manning drops so much. He had, I think, probably 38 yards passing heading into the fourth quarter, and then
Hmm.
started connecting through some like lively, like solid tosses. So, but really, let's not go too crazy about Ohio State. They were home. They made their 4th-and-1 run. They converted on the goal line. Texas didn't, and that was the difference, right? Like it's not night and day difference between this Ohio State team and the Texas team we saw.
And now we get to see them play as the number one team in the country and the defending
Right.
national champions with a young quarterback in Julian Sayin. And I will say, Sayin looked really good. So that
Yeah.
is the encouraging news. But again, not every game is at the shoe. And with the target on their back, I know there's a lot of people kind of laughing about the, Arch quote about he's got a red dot on everybody else, no target on his back. But again, when you're number one team in the country, it is a little bit different. So Ohio State will definitely feel that just a bit. One other name I wanted to circle just for the Heisman talk, Tommy Castellanos. I mean, I know
You
I
like
mentioned
him, huh?
I like
Yeah.
him. I just feel like he kind of won America's hearts in that game, and everybody's been
Right.
preying on the downfall of Alabama. The fact that he called out Saban can't save you. He's selling T-shirts now, Sal, that say Nick can't save you. He couldn't put Saban on the shirt for legal reasons, but it just says
Oh.
Nick can't save you.
Mhm.
And we all know the Nick that he's talking about. So that's another name I just wanted to throw out there. Let's do some Bill Simmons. This is another tried and true tradition. Cross off
Yeah.
teams. Are there any teams right now in college football that you say they will not be in the CFP outside of North Carolina?
I know Tarleton State looked good against Army, but I'm just not buying it. I don't think they
Mm.
get to the playoff. No. I am glad it seems like Army undefeated going into the last week or whatever, like they go away. I really want to hear about like, the Boise's and the Armies. I know Boise has a conference now they can win and everything, but I do like when those teams go away. I think we should look at Alabama, right?
Mhm.
Their numbers to make the playoff now. If you want, yes, you're getting almost 2-1 at plus 184. And I was like, all right, we'll talk more about Caitlin DeBar later, but I said they'll get back on track. And the problem is there's not a lot of room for error, right? They
Mhm.
go to Georgia, they go to Missouri is always going to be tough. They go to South Carolina. They're home for Tennessee. They're home for Wisconsin. They're home for LSU. They're home for Oklahoma. That they're at Auburn, which is always a ridiculous game. So I don't know. You you get maybe 3 losses. We saw last year when they had 3 losses, they didn't get in. Not much room for error here if you're on the minus 200 or so for them not to make the playoffs.
And if you're an Alabama fan, you're basically just hoping that FSU runs through the ACC, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
that would help a lot with the PR spin if
Sure.
Tommy Castellanos and FSU looks like a team that can actually contend in the CFP and they dominate the ACC, they win the ACC championship. Then the SEC spin zone propaganda, all that stuff starts to work in your favor a little bit. So I think that would be the push there. Also, Boise State. I feel like every single CFP prediction bracket I saw had Boise State sort of penciled in, maybe even sharpied in for some people based on their schedule. They go to USF and that humidity, and
Right.
you could tell that they missed Ashton Genty dearly. So I think they're a team that you can probably cross off as well. Sal, should we do some line look aheads? We have NFL football this week. This is something that you've been praying for since, obviously the Super Bowl and beyond, but real football is back, Sal.
I know. I'm very excited. I have to get through my 14, 15 fantasy drafts to fully sink
Your
in.
guillotine leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, the guillotine leagues. And, those are nice because it's a distraction from the Micah Parsons stuff. Although now I'm hearing he has a back injury, maybe questionable I don't want to root for the guy to be injured or not play or be hurt, but a 25, 26-year-old with a back injury, Tate, you've been there. It's not
Yeah.
good. You never played a game from 26 years old on, right?
You remember I would lay on the floor while
Yeah.
you guys are recording, and
You can't get sacks like that.
laugh
laying
to
on the floor.
myself. I remember laughing and my back hurting. So hopefully for Micah's sake, that will not be the case for him. But maybe Jerry knew something that we didn't know, Sal. That's a lot of people don't give him credit. Maybe he was,
Yeah,
looking
I
into
doubt
the
it.
future.
I doubt it. But if Parsons is podcasting from his back on from the midfield in Lambeau, we'll know. We'll know it's different. But
I
yeah,
just
it's
love
good.
calling him Michael Parsons. That's
Yeah.
that's my
It's
new
so
name
disrespectful.
for him. Yeah,
It's so
unbelievable.
damn disrespectful. It's maybe why they couldn't get a deal done. But anyway, I'm done talking about it for a minute.
Yeah, let's give you a break.
Let's go back to Tar Heels. Oh no, we have to pick this Eagles Cowboys game. All right.
Yeah, let's do a line look ahead, Sal. We got Philly minus 7.5 in this game, taking on the Cowboys. The over/under line is 47.5. Sal, what do you like in this game? Are you looking forward to this game? And does it feel nice that at least you can have some football to distract you a little bit before you get back to the Micah Parsons conversations?
Well, I think it's nice that I get this game out of the way, right? So I can, Sunday is kind of when it really starts for me. I know there's a game Thursday, there's a game in Brazil Friday, but if I cannot have to worry about the Cowboys on Sunday and just enjoy the terrible, shitty quarterbacks that are presented in the 1 p.m. Eastern slate there. I love it, but I'll pick this later in the week, the 7.5 and 47.5.
I
I
like a
don't see
tease.
Philly losing this game. Yeah, that immediately jumps out at you to jump on a teaser there. But I'm going to take Hurts or Barkley 2 or more touchdowns at plus 130. Now, I've been screaming about this tush push all summer. So, of course, it's going to come back to bite me on my tush the
Hmm.
very first game. 27 touchdowns between the two of them last year, 6 multiple touchdown games for Barkley, 3 for Hurts in the regular season. I, for one, don't think Kenny Clark is going to make a tremendous difference out of the gate defending the run. We were 31st in the league last year against the run. Hurts is minus 160 just to score, so that's a little high. I think there's a likelihood of one of them scores 2 or more, or maybe even both of them score 2 or more. I'm bitter already, so I'm taking plus 130, one of these two, to have multiple touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, it does feel like they're going to send a message with the tush push, especially if you've watched college football. There's a lot of teams, you saw Arch Manning on the goal line, right? They have not been able to master the craft of the tush push or the bush push in college, right? Reggie Bush,
Right.
the famous bush push. That was kind of the first one. He didn't touch the tush. He just, pushed him in the back.
That
But
was a different time.
different
They
time.
didn't touch the
Yeah,
push.
yeah. Now you
It
got
was
to
a
get
push.
leverage and get the tush involved in the push. But I like that bet. I feel like Hurts and the Eagles will send a message there. I got a prop for you as well. I'm going to take Devontae Smith anytime touchdown plus
Hmm.
180. I'm a big fan of Devontae Smith. I know Alabama football is trending down, but Devontae Smith is trending up, and slowly but surely, I think he's going to turn into the number one guy there for Philadelphia.
Hmm.
And I do feel like Jalen Hurts has a lot of faith and trust in him, so you can get that at plus 180. And I decided that we should join forces here. Our two terrible teams that we root for, North Carolina, Dallas Cowboys. Let's get together. Javonte Williams, anytime touchdown, plus 240. Sal.
Oh,
First game for the Cowboys. Let's give them some false hope and let's get a touchdown on the board.
anytime in this game, you mean, or anytime like if he's
Anytime
playing in the
this
backyard
game.
with his kids? Like, does that
Yeah,
count? Like, I don't know. In this game, all right, interesting. So we got to
I'll
get
take it. Plus
we do our
240.
own tush push with him. All right, okay,
I
that
like
would
to
be
zag
nice.
sometimes for you, Sal. So
I
I
gotcha.
figured why not connect our powers of trashness and see if we can figure out a way to win some money together. So Javonte Williams, anytime touchdown. You got Hurts or Barkley, 2+ TDs. Again, all plus money there. Let's go to the Friday game. You mentioned it. It's in Brazil. Travis Kelce did not know how long the flight was going to be despite going to Brazil last year. We got a line to look at here. KC -3. 45.5 is the line. This should be a Chargers home game that you and I are going to out here at SoFi, but instead it's in Brazil. But what do you like prop wise on the board here, Sal?
I'm interested to see the fan breakdown there, right? It probably
Hmm.
won't be too much worse than it would have been if KC came to LA or something. I don't know how it's going to work with
Maybe
the
there's some
Brazil.
Chargers fans down in Brazil, right? New
You
team,
know, I
franchise.
frequent Fogo de Chao a lot, so I feel like I get
Hmm.
a good taste of the Brazilian culture, and I didn't see a lot of Chargers jerseys. Of course, I'm looking down the whole time, stuff in my face, so I
That's
don't know.
true.
I'm going to go prop here. Tuli Tuipulotu with a sack plus 178. He had 4.5 sacks his first year with the Chargers. He had 8.5 last season. He took Mahomes down in their December matchup. The Chiefs have a revamped offensive line. Might not get it done early on. Maybe that's the problem all year for the Chiefs, but USC alum Tuipulotu benefits. Tuli with a takedown plus 178.
Yeah, shout out to Thule. Fun player to watch. I like that at plus money. I'm going to do, you know this, Sal, about me. I'm a company man. And FanDuel, when I went to the site, FD Sportsbook, go check it out. There is a company SGP same game parlay. I think it's a fun one. Why not take it? Omarion Hampton, Travis Kelce, Lad McConkey, Isaiah Pacheco.
Wow.
Anytime touchdown. All 4 of those guys are going to score a touchdown in this game. Now, if you take that, you can get it at plus 4,132. Now, look, always bet responsibly. Parlays
Yeah.
always are not the best move, but again,
Oh,
I'm a
don't say
company
that.
man.
Yeah.
Same game parlay. Hampton, Kelsey, McConkey, Pacheco. I see the vision that they're all going to score a touchdown, Sal. Now, you get that at plus 4,132 odds right there.
That's good. Combine that with Javonte Williams. There you go. That'll be good. Can I take a break? I know we're
Yeah,
going
just
to go
keep
on
adding
to
to the parlay.
another game. Simmons forced a fantasy league on us. You were not involved, and it's my turn to pick, and it's a slow draft, which
Oh, no.
slow means this could end by week 4. I'm going to let you pick for me. David
Okay.
Montgomery, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, Isaiah Pacheco. Those are the 4 in my queue, and it's my turn right now. I have
Let's go
44
with
minutes.
Pickens.
So
I
Pickens.
like
Okay.
Pickens.
All
Yeah.
right.
Why not? You know what I mean? CeeDee Lamb's taking the attention away. CeeDee Lamb said that they've
Yeah.
got two number one receivers now. I like the chaos of George Pickens. I loved him at Georgia. I'll never forget when he sprayed the water bottle on the guy on the ground from the sideline, and they were like, "Is that what we think we saw?" Yes, it was. It's George Pickens, but he is
That's
a really good
right.
football player.
Well, he's
So
part of Team Sal right now. Good job by us. We did it. And now,
yeah,
now we're going to talk about his former team, the Steelers, going to the Jets, right?
let's do it. Line look ahead. We got Pittsburgh -2.5 in this one, 37.5 at New York Jets. So a redemption game for Aaron Rodgers. And you and I are buying into the hype, Sal. What do you got here on the board?
I think this is fun. Simmons, when we talked about the
Mhm.
4 box, which 4 games we were watching the early slate, he didn't have this one. I was like, you have to watch this one, at least until it's a disaster for one team or
Right.
the other, plus the Steelers special and everything. 2.5, it went to 38.5 now, went up a little. I'll tell you what, I'm going Rodgers over 19.5 completions, 20 or more, -114. Say what you will about Aaron Rodgers. Go ahead, Tate. Say what you will. Say
Um,
whatever you will.
he's a good quarterback, Sal.
Oh, okay. Wasn't even thinking that. But listen, after his first 2 starts last year, you were right. He was a good quarterback in that he had
Mhm.
20 or more completions in 13 of his final 16 games. So I'm getting this for even odds. A lot of that was because he'd fall behind and there was garbage time he was playing. But I expect some short passes early on to get familiar with the Steelers offense. And then maybe they're losing in the fourth quarter. He gets 7 or 8 freebies. I think he gets to 22 completions and hopefully the Steelers lose.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you with the Rodgers hype. I think Aaron Rodgers is always better when he is motivated by his own doings, basically, right? I mean,
Hmm.
he struggled with the Jets. He did not have the success that was promised. He did not bring them the Super Bowl like he said he would and go back to Super Bowl three. Kind of reminiscent of maybe what's happening with Bill Belichick, but I digress. I'm going to take Rodgers in this one over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think he's licking his chops at this, Sal. He's always
Interesting.
been a guy who's a fan of kind of the Steelers culture. I think that they have the right age group around him. I think that he is going to have a big opening game. I'm not sure I buy long term into the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, but I think this opening game against the Jets, it's exactly what he wants. So over 1.5 passing touchdowns, you can get that at +146. Now we're going to flip back to college football. Line look at here. We got Oklahoma. This is college game day, by the way. Oklahoma, Michigan. Oklahoma -5.5 in this one. 46.5 again, Sal. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, we had 4 solid on paper matchups in week 1, right? This one, not so much. This is by
Hmm.
far the cream of the crop. Oklahoma, I was surprised to see 5.5 point favorite, right? Just if you went by their preseason power rankings and over under win projections, I didn't think Oklahoma should have been 5.5. And here we are. I feel like it's the fishiest line of the week in terms of big teams playing. Coach is suspended, 5-star offensive lineman out for the year for Michigan. Lackluster game against New Mexico. I think the defense had 3 pressures the whole game and 1 sack. It was rough, and that came late. I like what this John Mateer is doing. We didn't talk about him. He is like top 5 or 6 for Heisman for Oklahoma right now. So could be 2 or 3 if Oklahoma wins this, and I think they will. 30-16. Good one in Norman. Saturday night, fans will be nuts. I'm going to lay the 5.5.
Yeah, going into the season, Mateer was kind of the number one transfer QB on the board. You know, maybe Carson Beck was there as well, but it felt like a lot of people were kind of pushing the Mateer agenda. They went under the radar in week 1, despite him throwing 3 touchdowns and rushing for 1 as well. I do think that Arbuckle, their offensive coordinator, is really good. So I'm going to take Oklahoma to score every quarter in this game, +186. I think that
Wow.
they run up the numbers in this one, Sal, and I think they kind of send a message that, hey, we're a team that you got to reckon with in the SEC, and John Mateer is going to get a little bit of a bump into that Heisman conversation as well. So I like both of us on Oklahoma. If you're a hater, maybe you get on Michigan now, but for us, we're going to take the Boomer Sooners there. Next one, Sal Line, look ahead. We got a rivalry game here: Iowa State versus Iowa. Iowa State -2.5 in this one. The line for the game 41.5. Who do you like in this one, Sal?
The Cyhawk Classic. You know, it took me years to
Hmm.
figure out what that meant, and then it's just basically Cyclone and
Combine the
Hawkeye.
two words. It's called a
Yeah, I'm
merger.
an
Yeah,
idiot. Isn't this, by the way, usually during rivalry week, like in
yeah.
like November? Isn't it like that Thanksgiving week? Don't they do that? I think it's just kind of early on. I guess
Also
they
for
hate each
Iowa
other.
State, Sal, to have to play in Farmageddon and then play Iowa, pretty,
Right.
that's pretty quick. A
Right.
lot of
Exactly.
rivalries getting checked off the board fast.
Yeah. So Iowa State has won 2 or 3 in this series. Long field goal to win last year. Fun game. Iowa obviously has the advantage over history. So I think that's why this is 2.5 and not 3, because I actually think Iowa State could be considerably better. But I'm biting on it. Iowa State looked good against Kansas State in that sloppy beer drenched field in Dublin that you talked about. Rocco Beck gets it done. Surprisingly high scoring game, I'm going to say. You have it under, but I have it 30-20 Iowa.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, I'm just taking the under because Iowa's involved. Kirk Ferentz, we have respect for him. Obviously, the most active wins in college football as a head coach right now. But for whatever reason, I just think this is an ugly game. I think it's an under, and I think that Iowa State finds a way to win. But it's Rocco Beck, kind of making miracles happen late in this game. You can throw all the books out, right? That's what they say in a rivalry game. So I just feel like it's going to be a little bit of a mush, exactly what Iowa wants it to be, but Iowa State finds a way to win this game. Next up, Sal, this is a fun one. Two basketball schools, in my opinion. Line look ahead, Illinois versus Duke. Illinois -2.5 in this one, which is an interesting line. 49.5 is the total. What do you like in this one?
Simmons and I talked about, especially in pro, it used to be 1.5 was the leave us alone line. Now it's 2.5. We just saw 2.5 in Iowa State, Iowa. Now we're seeing 2.5 with Duke and Illinois. It's a little weird. Lots of people loved Illinois to make the playoffs, right? And they're only laying 2.5 to Duke, who's supposed to be okay, I guess. They crushed Elon at home. I think everyone gets a free Tesla if you beat up Elon at home. Quarterback Darian Mensah, though, that's the transfer from Tulane. He showed promise in that first start for Coach Manny Diaz, who took them 9-4 last year. So 5-1 last year at home. As you could see, I'm taking Duke. It's a tough place to play. Not Cameron Indoor Stadium per se, but the place is going to be loud. I think Illinois slips up here, predicting a slight upset, 26-19 Dukies.
Yeah, the ACC has had a good opening week. Obviously, two big wins. When you're talking about Florida State and Miami, Clemson didn't quite hold up their end of the bargain, but they'll be good for the rest of the year. Duke's quarterback, Darian Mensah, like you said, he's the $4 million man, 2 this year, 2 next year, and he's living up to the billing. I was concerned, though, watching some of that Elon game. They let Elon hang around for a little bit too long for me to really buy into this team, even though Mensah did look good. So I'm going to take Illinois to win this game by 7-12, and you can get that plus 500. So
it's pretty good if you like to go that way. Yeah.
I like that range. I think that Illinois scores a touchdown late to win this one, and they end up winning in that range, 7-12, plus 500. Those are our line look-aheads. Again, week 2 in college football, not as electric as week 1, but we're going to do some fun futures here. So let's track to the future. We got NCAA conference winner value picks based on what we've seen. We got first impressions. We got our initial ideas about who's actually going to be good now, Sal. So based on the board, based on conference winners that we have at FanDuel Sportsbook, who do you like and who do you think is good value?
Well, I'm going to try to flex a little while I still can in week 2 before all my college picks go into the shitter. But I love this Utah team going in for the Big 12 to win the Big 12. That you can still get them at plus 460. I was pretty impressed with how they beat up UCLA. I know they're not going to be great. I watched with our friend Brad, who hates the UCLA quarterback. That guy, he abandoned Tennessee. He's a Vols fan, screaming. It's like, this guy, Nico, he's a captain. They made him a captain. Good luck. Good luck, Deshaun Foster. Good job. So, but Utah beat him. Devon Dampier another quarterback we didn't talk about. 21 for 25, threw for over 200, ran for 87, close to 90 yards. The defense played great. I got it at 5-1 a couple weeks ago. Now it's plus 460. Didn't lose a ton of value, but this team's back, and teams like Kansas State, Baylor, certainly Colorado, looks like they aren't going to maybe compete for this Big 12 title. So I'm doubling down on Coach Whittingham here.
Yeah, I love Wayshawn Parker, transfer from Wazoo. Loved watching him last year, and I feel like he's kind of a under-the-radar guy for that offense that can get them some really big moments as well. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Utah based on what we saw the first week, but I'm a really big fan of Josh Hoover. I'm a real big fan of Jordan Dwyer. There were 3 Jordans in the building. There was Jordan Hudson, Michael Jordan, and Jordan Dwyer was the Jordan that stole the show for TCU from Puyallup, where my girlfriend's from. So shout out to Puyallup. But,
there you go.
Yeah,
I think we got to get it down to one Jordan. There's all room for one Jordan.
We could have done a start binge cut, you know what I mean, with all the Jordans in the building. But I'm going to take TCU to win the Big 12. I think Sonny Dykes has a team that had the perfect kind of bulletin board material going into the season. I personally believe they should have been a top 25 team with Hoover coming back. And, man, that they looked the part in that first game. So TCU plus 600, Sal. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm buying the hype.
That was a mirage, Tate. They played a bad team. They played a bad team. But okay. All right. You
Yeah,
can
we'll
take that.
see. We'll see when Charlotte beats Carolina how good that looks. Next up, Sal, Track of the Future, playoff team, best value based on what we've seen. Who do you like on the board?
Well, let's start with you because we talked about Utah, and I think that's your pick, right? You're getting a little
Yeah.
better value than you are. You won't get a better number because this is to make the playoff, and I have them to win the Big 12.
Yeah, it's a little contradictory. I'm basically saying here that there's going to be two Big 12 teams that make the CFP. Now,
Right.
I know they've been deemed a one bid league. My
Right.
goodness, boy, can I talk today. But Utah plus 310, I really like you said, I like Dan Pierre a lot. I kind of just like that they're a little bit off the beaten path, and people like the Utes. I just feel like they're a fun team to watch, and they're slowly going to become like a Boise State from last year, where everyone's like, man, I just really like this Utah team. So plus 310 feels like good value, but you like a juggernaut that's on the board.
Yeah, listen, and we might have to get lucky here with the multiple bids in the conferences that are not the SEC, but SEC really might just send one team this year. It really could be
Yeah,
LSU.
right.
Can you imagine? That would be fun. But I'm going to take Clemson here. I know they didn't light it up on prime time this weekend. Minus 118 to make the playoffs. I'm not ruling Klubnik and Clemson out. You get a slightly better number than you did. Obviously, this is to win the ACC. Sorry. I get Miami and FSU look great, and Dabo ran into a weird situation versus an LSU team who kind of absolutely had to have it. So you called that game, Tate. That was good for you. But Troy, Syracuse, UNC, BC coming up. Probably going to be 5-1 before you know it, undefeated in the conference, home against FSU and no Miami. I'll take the minus 118 and Clemson still to win the ACC.
And it does feel like Clemson, this is kind of the perfect way for them to kind of get under the radar a little bit and for them to kind of build. Like Dabo likes a little adversity in the season, especially early on. So I think this is kind of working out well for Clemson. Takes the pressure off their back. Let's talk about the U.S. Open. College football fans, if you were watching the Beamer Bowl, very upset that the ESPN kind of hung on the U.S. Open coverage until the last minute before kickoff. But it is what it is. We like watching the U.S. Open. Track to the future here. Outright winner, men's or women's. Who do you like, Sal?
I'm going to go Carlos Alcaraz plus 165. It was plus 135 last night. I don't even know what happened, but it's 165. 14-1, by the way, for him to not drop a set at all. He's 12-0 so far in sets. I know he's got his tougher games coming up. He's playing actually in about 20 minutes. He cut all his hair off, and it's mesmerizing. Forget about the 135 mile per hour serve. I think he's going to his opponents just have no idea what they're looking at. He'll have the winner of Fritz Djokovic. Those two will beat each other up, and then likely Sinner unless he gets upset this week. So I think plus 165 is a good number. He'll be favored in the finals. He should be.
Yeah, and I do think that Alcaraz, for the most part, just kind of with his time, out there, like his hair is growing in real time, Sal. So I feel like by the time he gets to the final, he might have his full head of hair back. So that would be good as well. I think that
unlike
would really
the rest of us, his hair is growing in real time.
It's unbelievable. So shout out to Alcaraz, Nutrafol, whoever's involved. They're making things happen there. And apparently he got a bad haircut. That's the reason he did it in the first place. So
is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what they said.
I didn't even know that was an option. Wow. Okay. It's good to know.
Just shave your head. I'm going to take Sabalenka. I'm going to go to the women's side. Take Sabalenka plus 195. I just feel like, she is a woman on a mission this week, and she does feel like she's playing the best tennis. Osaka, I'm a little enticed by Osaka, but Coco just did not have her form.
Boy, that was something.
Yeah, and her it was a wild 180 where it was like Coco was the one that was having struggles, and it seemed like she was the one that was frustrated, mentally not all there, and Osaka looked like she was having fun. So that was encouraging to see. I'm not going to completely go all the way in and buy in Osaka, but I did want to point out that she does look good, and that would be a fun storyline. But I'll take Sabalenka plus 195 to win the U.S. Open out there in Flushing Meadows. So
you know what? That might be a good parlay there for both of our. Let's see, Alcaraz is 170 now. Sabalenka now 2-1. You get plus 710 if you parlay those together. Not terrible.
The Sal and Tate tennis parlay.
Let's do it.
Put that up on the site. Sal, we always love doing over-under reactions. I give you a statement, and you tell me if it's an over or under reaction. Let's play the game. Let's have some fun. I'll start here. Kalen DeBoer, in case you don't know, the head coach of Alabama, his seat is hotter than a thermometer in the sun's rectum. Over or under reaction, Sal. Oh, my goodness.
Do we have a reading? Does FanDuel have a reading on what the thermometer in the sun's rectum actually says?
I think we need that live, yeah.
Need some perspective here. He's on a short leash in Tuscaloosa, right? I mean, there's
Mhm.
one thing to replace Saban the first year and you lose 30 guys. All right, you lose 3 games, that maybe there's an excuse there. And then you
Right.
lose 10 to the pros this year. That's what he did. But you got to be able to recruit. Otherwise, they're just going to get someone who will, right? We talked about it. UL Monroe will be a win. They're home for Tennessee and Oklahoma, but at Georgia, at Missouri, at South Carolina, you can't come out of there with 4 losses, which would be 3 more. You can't really lose to FSU, a team that you're favored to beat by 2 touchdowns if you're going to turn this thing around. So the crowd, by the way, that FSU crowd, you're right. That was better than I'd seen in forever. Jimbo Fisher, dare I say, Bobby Bowden days. But anyway, yes, that is an underreaction. Caleb DeBoer is in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, and he had a really big gaffe in his press conference as well, where he, was talking about, and someone asked him about, you said you had a great practice leading into FSU, and he had the kind of perplexed look of like, I said that. And then, of course, the media, they always remember. They pull the clip, and Kalen DeBoer, the seat is hot. Next up, Sal, the ACC is better than people anticipated. Over or under reaction?
I guess it depends on the people, but I'm going to
Yeah,
say
right.
underreaction. Had Clemson pulled that game out against LSU, I would have said definitely. So, but Miami being good, FSU seems to have their shit together. Georgia Tech was even fun. I picked them as a wild card team this year. Even Virginia Tech, like I said, played tough for most of that game against South Carolina. So, but Belichick and Dabo screwed it all up. Otherwise, I would say resounding underreaction.
Yeah, and I think the ACC coaches are happy because the entire conversation leading into the season was about Belichick and Dabo
Right.
Sweeney. So for all the other teams and all the other coaches that have their moment, I'm sure that they're having fun laughing about it. Next up, Sal, a guy who always made us laugh and smile. Lee Corso went out in the most spectacular fashion for a college football handicapper, 6 for 6 with his picks. Sal, over under reaction.
Underreaction.
Yeah,
Good job
great.
by you, Lee. 90 years old, 6-0 to finish out your career. Way to drop the mic and make sure it didn't land on Kirk Herbstreit's dog's head. But you 6-0, Tate. That's all I want to do. I'll retire too if I can go 6-0. You were 3-1. You want to put a stuffed Tar Heel hat on and ride into the sunset?
I
Maybe
gotta
that's
keep.
it.
I gotta keep going. You know what I mean? I gotta keep getting there so I can get undefeated. I will say I wanted to flag this for both of us. He did say LSU was going to win the national championship based on the 6 for 6 pick. Sal, is
Oh,
it worth putting something on LSU's national championship futures? I think it was like plus 1100.
that's
So
exactly what it is right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Lee
That
Corso, maybe we follow him to the national championship.
You get double digits. Obviously, they have a tough schedule coming out there, but it looks like I don't know. They play a type of way that could be in the SEC championship for sure. You know what I'm doing? I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
Let's
write
do
that
it for
down.
Lee.
And the
Lee and
last
the
time
LSU.
that the quarterback of LSU, like I said on our last show, ward number 18, they won the
Uh-huh.
national championship with Nick
Yeah.
Saban. So
Oh, right. Yep. Yep.
so
There
there
you
you go,
go.
Sal. You got some stuff there to kind of buy in on. So shout out to Lee Corso. Next up, Clemson's pregame sprint ritual is officially a distraction to the team. Over or under reaction. A lot of people upset about Howard Rock, not for the right reasons, but if you didn't see it for the first time, I think people were like, "What is
Will,
this? Why do they
will
get on a
you
bus?"
explain what is it? What happens here? What was the ritual?
The ritual was that they get on the bus, they go to the top of the hill, and they sprint down the hill. But the funniest part of it is that Dabo sprints first. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so Dabo runs out by himself,
and really
and then
puts it out there, right? Yeah, like
he
you
runs
just
as fast as he can. I've been there multiple times and watched Dabo run, and it feels like a Make a Wish situation a little bit, but you know what I mean. It is very very funny.
Yeah, I wish that my coach doesn't tear his ACL and screw things
Right,
up for us here because we only have 3 guys in the transfer portal. None of them are leaders right now. Yeah, I'm going to
right.
say underreaction. Bus to the field, the sprinting, it's too much.
Yeah, it's fun when it works. When it doesn't work, it looks a little dumb. Next up, Sal, we can go ahead and give CJ Daniels the ESPY for Play of the Year. Randy Moss said it. He teased it that it's going to be featured on You Got Moss this season, but over under reaction.
Give him you got Moss, give him the
Mhm.
SB, give him whatever you want. I think he probably could get, I don't know, give him a Tony Award if you want to. I mean, Michael Irvin, who I'm interviewing later this afternoon, was right there, chest bumping. He seemed the happiest he's ever been. It was an incredible catch because you know what? It was a good defensive play as well as it was offensive because I think Beck gets intercepted, even if that's tipped. There's like three guys, three defenders behind that. So yeah, just hand him an SB during practice on Wednesday. We've seen enough. Good job by you, CJ.
Yeah, Michael Irvin, by the way, the best mascot in college football. I
Love
mean,
him.
all the
Yeah.
animals are out there, but he's the number one guy as far as who I want to see on the sideline, sweating, yelling, waving a
Yeah.
towel, going insane. So shout out to Michael Irvin. Next up, Sal, it's unfair to throw Cam Ward out at the Broncos defense in Denver. Over under reaction for his first game.
I was saying to Simmons that we've never been less interested, or the media hasn't, in a number one overall pick than we are in Cam Ward. And I think even the Titans aren't excited, right? It's probably because they're beaten down. Like, this is their third quarterback in 4 years. You had Levis, you had Malik Willis, right? And now it's like, all right, we have to take Cam Ward. So go ahead and let's just throw him up against Denver's defense, top 5 in almost all metrics last year, and at Mile High. Let's see if he can even breathe right. So yeah, I'm going to say unfair and underreaction.
Yeah, that's going to be. I think Cam Ward's going to shock people how good he is. I watched him play at Wazoo quite a bit, and I'm a big fan of his game. And I feel like last year, Miami had no business winning 10 games, and he won about 8 of them by himself. So just putting that out there for Titans fans. Get a little excited. I know, he's no Will Levis, but I think he's going to be a lot of fun. Next up, Sal, as diehard football junkies, we deserve Bills-Ravens as the first Sunday night football game. Over or under reaction?
Underreaction, Mike. Are we the two most blessed men in the entire world? Don't answer that. Just let me keep pontificating about the league in a loving way. No, we're lucky to see Lamar and Josh battle it out. These are the two best teams over the last 5 years. They have the best records ever for teams that haven't made the Super Bowl. So could we just call it the QB SB? Because they are the two best quarterbacks and they're going head to head. It's really great to see first week.
It's going to be awesome. I'm very excited. I almost feel like we could save it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like week 1 in college football. It's like I wish some of these games were week 3, week 4 when these teams kind of knew who they were a little bit more. But again, it'll be a great Sunday night. Last over-under reaction, Sal. Michael Jordan went to Kenan Stadium for the first time in my lifetime. And I say to you now, Michael Jordan will never attend another UNC football game. Over or under reaction?
Well, it depends. I mean, if he, hugging there with Lawrence Taylor, maybe he set up a golf game for this morning and maybe he took 30 grand from LT. So in that regard, it's a good business venture to head out there every time. But we said it earlier. I think there's only room for one Jordan. So Mike, take a hike. Sorry, it's too much pressure for Belichick.
The Don over the Dan. Yeah, right. That's where we stand right now. And where we stand on the show right now, we're going to take a quick break. For everyone listening to the podcast, we'll be right back on the other side of the break. If you're watching us live, just stay right there. We're going to pick back up and we're going to have Joel Anderson join us.
I like that guy.
Yeah, he's great.
All right,
we're back. And the break just happened. If you're listening to the podcast, welcome back. If you're watching us live, we appreciate that pregnant millennial pause that we just gave you. And Joel Anderson, I see him now. He's in the building. Joel, good to see you, man.
Man, Tate, what's going on, man? No hard feelings. No hard feelings about how last night went down. I know things were tough. We talked it out over text, though, and I think, you seem like you got a smile on your face. Maybe you're back at it today.
Again, I'm used to this, right? This is nothing new if you're a Carolina football fan. I'm used to worse, Joel.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There were some positives there. If you don't know a little bit of the background, obviously Joel and I, we co-host Ringer Tailgate with Van Lathan as well. Joel played football at TCU. I went to North Carolina, so we had a little bit of a house divided moment. It was LT versus LT, and I wanted to give you some credit, Joel. LaDainian Tomlinson, he's the official LT now, right, after that game last night.
The official LT, the only one allowed within 200 yards of the school. So, so
I think that helps.
That does help. It does help.
Were you more impressed with TCU or, more shocked by how bad Carolina looked? I guess that's a good way to frame that game.
Oh, man, it's just so tough because you want to give TCU credit for looking fairly crisp. And what should have been a tough spot. Like, I mean, I've not been to Kenan Stadium before, but I assume that's about as electric as it gets there on a game night, right?
It was 50,000. I've never seen 50,000 in that stadium. It was packed.
Yeah, I mean, I assume Michael Jordan doesn't usually show up with LT and Mia Hamm and all that. So that was a real tight spot for TCU. But for the first couple of possessions, they looked like they were in pretty good, not midseason form, but they looked about as in good a shape as you could be through the first week of the season. But man, UNC, man, I'm really so glad that Bill Belichick has his life off the field in order, and he can go home, and you know what I'm saying. He's got his 24-year-old beauty queen. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
I'm just
all
like,
right.
yeah, man. You know, like he's got something to look forward to when he goes home. Imagine how he'd feel if he didn't have that in order. Because
Hold on, I'm getting a note that Jordan is now dating the TCU quarterback's grandfather. So I'm not. That might all have gone down the drain. Poor
Cletus Hoover or
BB.
somebody like that. Yeah, nah. I mean, but what has gone well for Bill Belichick in football in like the last 5 years?
Mm.
And this is sort of the punctuation of a bad run. And it's kind of weird to feel sorry for Bill Belichick. I mean, he's the guy who is, you know, if there's a Mount Rushmore of head coaches in football history, he's on it. But I looked at that last night and I just said, oh man, this looks pretty pathetic. Like he looks like he's out of his depth. Um, and everything is an indictment. Like if you don't
Hmm.
have enough talent, those are your guys. You brought in 70 people. You brought in Mike Lombardi. Like this is your crew that you assembled. And a lot of coaches have to do that, right? Like Deonis has to do it. Um, they've had to do it at Arizona State. Like every first year coach has to do that. And so if it's not talent, then were you really out coached by Sonny Dykes and Kendall Briles? Right? Was that the offense that befuddled you? You know,
Yeah,
was that
some
the
people
thing?
were calling it the Nepo Baby Bowl last night. It was
Uh,
Bryles versus Belichick, and
Oh,
obviously Bryles dominated.
I mean, man, I'm saying, man. I mean, look, I've been skeptical of Sonny Dykes and Kendall Briles, and they've not looked great in the last couple of years. But that was as good as TCU has looked since the semifinal in 2022 against Michigan. And
Yeah.
some of that is them, but I have to think, and you know better than me, North Carolina looked about as bad as you. I didn't. I knew that they weren't going to be good, but I didn't think they would be bad, and they were actually bad last night.
Yeah,
Joe,
my
I
bro.
think
Yeah,
Tate
go ahead, Sal.
jinxed you though. I'm sorry. Well, I'm bringing you back into this, Tate, because you're betting
I'm trying
now
to change the
TCU.
subject. And
Yeah,
Sal.
yeah, right. No, let's keep talking about how
Well,
bad they
I
were.
wanted we got to fit gambling in here. TCU is 6-1 to win the Big 12. Do you like that, Joel? I mean, have you seen enough?
You know, I would like that in a world where Utah didn't exist, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But I
Hmm.
Yeah.
think
That was
there's
Sal's pick, by the way,
That's
Joe.
my pick
He
before the
really
took his,
season.
okay,
Yeah.
man. We right here, bro. That's here we go. Here
Well,
we go.
Whittingham's good, right? I mean,
Mm.
it'll bounce back, right?
Yeah,
So,
man. I don't think Utah's going to be down.
yeah.
And then there's all these other teams. The thing is like in the Big 12 is that everybody's so roughly equivalent. Texas
Yeah.
Tech, Iowa State, K State. If Iowa State and K State play again next week, that could be a totally different result. So there's a lot of teams. Do I like it? Yeah, I would put money on it. You know what I'm saying? And then a 6-1, that's not bad. But I don't. I think they will actually win the Big 12? Hell no.
Well, you got to get to the top two, right? And then you're in the championship game, and then it's probably a coin toss. Like you said, at the beginning of the year, that was the most parity. That conference had the most parity. The win totals were ranged from 8.5 to 5.5. And you look at SEC, Big Ten, there's some 3.5, there's some 10.5. But no, you're right. Everybody's chunked up in the middle there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone was going after Kansas State, right, to open the season, and now, like, people they're not even in the conversation anymore. That's how much things have changed in 2 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
University of Houston wasn't like a great team, but last year, and they were probably. I mean, they could have been one of the worst, but like they can beat people.
Right.
UCF can beat people. Cincinnati played Nebraska really tough in a tight spot with what
Mhm.
I thought was a really bad quarterback. Presumably, they'll get better at that at some point over the year. So yeah, there's not a lot of weak spots on your schedule in the Big 12, which is sort of funny to say, but that's just
Yeah.
how it is.
Yeah, let's talk about another former Big 12 team, Texas. Obviously, the hype for Bill Belichick was very high, but also the hype for Arch Manning. There was a lot of people promising that he was going to be the greatest thing we've seen since Tim Tebow, and they were talking about college Tim Tebow, not the NFL Tim Tebow, which is more of what he looked like. Joel, your first impressions of Arch, and do you think like this was a blip or a bomb? Like, is this something that we're going to see a whole lot more of this season?
Well, first of all, I mean, the greatest thing since Tim Tebow. I mean, Cam Newton
Disrespectful.
and Joe Burrow did
I
play.
know.
I mean, they
It's
did play
crazy.
in the league. You know what I mean?
Tate's
Yeah.
timeline is out of whack here.
Yeah, it's kind of
That was the quote.
People
I'm
fall
reading
asleep.
the
You know,
quote. Yeah.
what the hell happened? Um, I think it's fair to judge Arch Manning on his performance in Columbus. Like so many people have been telling that he's the one that's going to bring together Archie's athleticism with Peyton and Eli's moxie and smarts, and that he was going to put it all together. And look, again, Coach Orgeron, right? Like who is a guy who said a couple weeks before that game that Arch Manning was the best he'd seen since Joe Burrow, right? So
Crazy.
right. So it's totally reasonable for us to say, no, man, you did not live up to expectations. And he was as bad as I thought he could possibly be. And we talked about this tape. Watching him, it like took me a while to accept that, wow, like he's sucking today. Like he's really bad. Like, I kept giving him excuses. He's just nervous. His offensive line is new. He's throwing to Parker Livingstone. That's his best receiver. It just never occurred to me that he could look like that. And I had to accept it right around the time he threw that interception late in the third quarter. But the context for that is that other than spot duty in the SEC championship game against Georgia, when he looked really overwhelmed, he's never played against that much talent before.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the toughest places to play in the country. What are the list of QBs who would have done well against that defense in that environment on Saturday? In the country, Garrett Nussmeier,
Josh Hoover,
maybe Josh Hoover, maybe,
he's incredible.
Maybe. Yeah, the thing about Josh Hoover though is that he didn't have to play against Caleb Downs and Arvell Reese, and those guys, right? But Garrett Nussmeier, maybe DJ Lagway, whatever you think of him, he's got talent. The touchdown pass at the end, that 30-yard beauty to Jack Andrews on the final possession of the game. Not many guys can make those throws. My presumption is that he's going to go back in the lab. They're going to run it up against San Jose State and UTEP and, Sam Houston State, I think is the other team they play. And then we'll see. We'll get a better read on who he is over the next several weeks. I think he's going to be okay. Like, do I think he's going to be the best quarterback or the best prospect since Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence, whatever? I don't think so, but I also don't think he's who we saw on Saturday, if that makes sense.
It's so funny because now how we compare quarterbacks, now we go to the age, right? Well, for a 24-year-old, he really looked terrible, right? It's like, yeah, but he only had a couple starts under his belt, but it's like, all right. But those first three quarters when he had like 38 yards passing and he missed a ton of balls, it was bad. He made a comeback. I'm curious, Joel, who do you think stepped up in the Heisman discussion here? Nussmeier is now favored, as we talked about, at 8-1. Lenore Sellers right there at 10, and Carson Beck 11-1. Is there anyone else you saw in week one?
Well, man, it's kind of crazy because he didn't play against, Jalen Daniels hasn't played like an equivalent schedule, right? Like this is not, you can't really look at those defenses and say that he's a guy that is going to face the crucible that those guys did. But in terms of like statistically and the way that he looked, and again, we're talking about 24-year-olds, you know what I mean? Yep. So he's got a few years under his belt. He's been there for a while. I think that Jalen Daniels looks really good, but I guess the problem with Kansas is that it's Kansas. But if you could look past that, actually though, but I would like to get this started if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, please start it.
Caleb Downs for Heisman.
Ooh.
Caleb Downs for Heisman. Like,
that was, a masterclass defensively, right? I mean, they lined him up everywhere. He was on the line. He was where the linebackers were. He was with the safeties. I mean, it was insane.
Who's better than him? Like, why? I don't understand, like, why that guy can't be part of that conversation.
I'm getting carpal tunnel syndrome scrolling to find Caleb Downs' name here on the list, but you're right. We need to get that going so he can make FanDuel's list here. He's not even 500-1.
They had like an Ed Reed type moment in that game with Patricia where they had him lined up like facing one way, like he was going to take away the boundary, and he completely flipped like right as the ball was snapped and took over a totally different area. Like he was doing all types of stuff on the back end. I mean, you're right, Joel. Good call.
Yeah, Matt Patricia, no disrespect. I mean, he showed that he's got the stuff. But if you've got Caleb Downs and all those guys, Kenyatta Jackson, Sonny Styles, like, it's easy to look good if you've got that kind of talent.
By the way, should we talk about that, Tate? Could Belichick not be able to do it without Patricia? Maybe that's what we learned from this week. Maybe that's it.
Well, what is Josh McDaniels doing? Was he busy?
Right.
I mean, why couldn't he come too? Just bring the whole game.
We need Drake May and Josh McDaniels. We need both of them back.
Man, how many sons does Bill have? Because he already has 2 on the staff.
They're all on staff. Yeah, I think he has a daughter who's a lacrosse coach.
Yeah.
Maybe we need her to teach us some leverage. Like. Yeah, right.
Only 4 of them have mullets, though. Her included. Yeah. So.
Yeah, poor Steve. That had to be a tough night last night. Again, Joel, Ohio State, presumably the #1 team in the country. But I want to ask you this: most impressive team in the country that you've seen so far, like based on just the eye test? Obviously, like, we got a new #1, but who in your mind kind of looked like the #1 team?
Oh, who looked like the #1 team? Well, I guess LSU then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
nope. Again, I mean, but for Texas, that was maybe the toughest road game, the toughest opener for anybody for all week. And they had to go into that place. This was their year, right? Like they brought
Hmm.
all these starters back. They've got a senior quarterback who allegedly is a first round prospect. Okay.
Number one pick, they're saying.
Yeah,
I,
I mean,
I have never seen that in my
I
life,
mean,
other than
again,
against Carolina that one time.
I just again, I evidence of things unseen. I've never seen Cade Klubnik, the Cade Klubnik that scouts believe in. I've never seen that dude, but
Yeah,
allegedly
I
he's that
agree.
guy. Okay.
Clark Kent keeps running out, but I'm waiting for Superman, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll see it someday. And so yeah, I mean, so this was Clemson's year, and then they went into that game, not a neutral site game, went into Death Valley. I mean, that defense, man, that's the thing that actually kind of was so surprising to me because
Right.
last year they were a mess. People were blaming Blake Baker. They're like, oh man, he's going to get Brian Kelly fired. And then you look in that game at Clemson, man, that secondary was reminiscent of the days when LSU was DBU, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I mean they've got some good running backs. They've got a deep receiving core. The offensive line held up better than we thought. I mean, I don't know if LSU is going to do it. And the thing is, like every team can lose a game or two now. So losing doesn't necessarily knock you out of it. But if I had the team that was most impressive with the most amount of talent that I think that could be there at the end after 1 week, which is sort of silly on its face, it'd have to be LSU, I think.
And 11-1 odds, and Lee Corso picked them to win the whole thing. So maybe we do sprinkle a little something on them.
Lee
Hmm.
Corso, my wife who doesn't listen to our podcast, she
Oh,
was
come on.
well, no, so she tried, and
She
she was
tried.
like, "You guys spent forever talking about was that they're the oldest coach ever or something like that." I was like,
Hmm.
"Man, she's not into it." But yeah, Lee Corso got it, man. Yeah, that was a smart pick, I think.
And I will say, like, there's all this narrative about like a coach is going to break through, right? And it seems like James Franklin is sort of the poster child of that idea that like this is going to be the year one of these coaches breaks through and wins a national championship. Brian Kelly would check that box as well. You know what I mean? Like, so if we're going to push that narrative, Brian Kelly might be the better option.
I don't know if I want Van to be that happy, but if it does happen, I mean, I've been saying Brian Kelly's a good coach, man. People don't have to like that dude, right? He's not didn't seem
Mm,
like the most likable guy, you know what I mean? But he's a good coach, and
yeah.
Mhm.
he's got talent now. It seems like that program is rolling. Yeah, man. I think this is what Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to do. So maybe this is finally the year that he finally gets it done.
100%. Week two, not as fun as week one, Joel. We got some good games on the board, though. College game day is the biggest one. Michigan and Oklahoma. We got Kansas at Missouri. That's a rivalry game that should have a lot of fireworks. South Florida at Florida. Obviously, Byron Brown kind of took the world by storm a little bit. Arizona State at Mississippi State. Of those four games that we have on the board, which one do you kind of circle and highlight? And you're like, I'm very excited to watch that game.
I would love to see Bryce Underwood against a defense that can do something
Mm.
to confuse him. Like, did y'all watch some of those?
He looked
I'm
good. That
yeah,
kid's got a tight arm. I mean,
yeah.
he can throw a ball. Yeah.
It was New Mexico, but I mean, New Mexico didn't look like a pushover. And yeah, that
Right.
kid, like, he looks like the real deal. I mean, there are a lot of good freshman quarterbacks this year, surprisingly, but uh, in terms of tools and poise and everything else, he's going to make Sharon Moore look a lot better, like a more of a better offensive mind than he's looked thus far. That was why I was like, okay, they've got some competent quarterbacking, not even competent quarterback, like potentially great quarterbacking. And so
Mm.
yeah, like I'm really interested to see what he looks like on the road. Oklahoma, this is a big year for Brent Venables. Venables is taking back control of that defense a little bit. So yeah, I want to see what that matchup looks like.
I'm
Mm.
more concerned about Michigan's defense. I know you're not going to show some. It's all going to be vanilla probably against New Mexico, but we were talking earlier. They only had like 3 pressures the whole game against that team. And Oklahoma could, I don't know, this could be a game where they put up 35, 38 points.
Don't you think? I feel like Oklahoma could be good this year. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just like Mateer is a really good dude. They've
Hmm.
got some running backs. I mean, the offensive line is going to be all right. Like I'm not saying that Oklahoma will be in the SEC championship, but I feel like their fans will be a lot happier with them
Yeah.
this year than they were last.
I do think that like this week, Oklahoma, Florida, Mizzou, they kind of become the main characters, the main storylines, right? Like they were not really talked about. I mean, we made fun of the construction workers at the Mizzou game, but like we didn't talk about the actual football team. And I think that Florida as well kind of was under the radar. So if they handle business against USF, the line is 17.5, right? So like it just feels like those programs might get the jump and the bump this week, and we're talking about them a little bit more.
I mean, that's good for Florida. I mean, good for Florida. USF won at exactly the right time to make them look good. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a perfect setup. We're on Ringer Tailgate. We're on Wednesdays. Saturdays, we are live. Joel Anderson, we appreciate you joining us, man. Appreciate you coming on the show. And we'll talk to you very soon, man. We'll have you back.
Man, I'm glad I finally got to talk to Cousin Sal, man. I feel like I finally made it at the Ringer now.
Joel,
So,
it's great talking to you. You know what?
likewise,
I don't know if you want to threaten the wife, but tell her you're going to wear a Horned Frogs mascot head to bed until she starts listening to the podcast. I mean,
Yeah,
we got to do this.
that's
I don't want to talk about
Threats work.
football in my downtime. So
I
it's
got
fine.
you.
But keep it, yeah.
Thanks, Joel. We
fellas, thanks for
appreciate
having
you,
me on.
man.
I
Of
Thanks,
course.
Joel.
Peace.
Good
Of
time.
course. Yep. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, if you're listening to us live, obviously we're going to be here live, but we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do our best bets for Tuesday night, and stay tuned. All right, we paused and we're back. We're going to do our best bets.
That was a great
Beauty.
break. I got a lot done during that break. I took the dry cleaning in, argued with the wife,
Yeah.
made deposits. Nice. Yeah.
You love live TV, right? Or live YouTube, whatever we're doing now at this point. But Sal, best bets for Tuesday night. We had some good ones last week, but who do you like on the board
We
tonight?
did. You had a tennis. I'm not going to make you repronounce her name,
No,
but you won
DeBundo
with
was
that.
disgusted by me that I didn't pronounce her
DeBundo is a
name.
hard enough name to
Yeah,
pronounce.
right.
Yes,
That's
but
what
you
I
won your
said.
tennis match. He's the one that screwed us. He lost. I won with the Yankees pick, laying a run and a half. But we'll go with baseball. Back to the diamond tonight. The Reds aren't going away, unfortunately for me and my Mets. They're 4 behind New York for that last wild card spot. The Blue Jays had them dead to rights yesterday, but the Big Red Machine scored 3 in the 9th to win, and now they have Nick Lodolo. He got beat up a little last start against the Dodgers, but 8 wins and an excellent 3.33 ERA for the Reds. Before that Dodger game, he hadn't allowed 3 runs since July 5th. He's pitched great for the better part of 2 months. Reds take Jose Barrios, and the Jays take Cincy minus 112 for our play of the day for Tuesday. What you got, Tate?
I like that call. I saw Terry Francona in person last Wednesday when they played the
Ooh.
Dodgers. Shohei pitched, Shohei hit. It was a great, fun game. And I said to myself, maybe old managers can work out as I watched Francona over there in the dugout.
Yeah.
So it gave me a little bit of hope for Bill Belichick. That was crushed on Saturday, as I said. We'll keep it to baseball as well. I like you, Darvish, on the mound for the Padres. Padres minus 1.5 in this game, and you can get that at plus 114. So I like the line there. I like Darvish, and I like the Padres to win this
Yes.
game on Tuesday night. We need to go 2-0, Sal. That's the goal.
Let's do it. And I like that we're betting during the week. It's nice to talk about the Thursday night game in Oklahoma, Michigan, but there are bets right here, right now. There's tennis all day. There's baseball. Go get it. Hit it up on FanDuel. Love to see it.
Love to see it. We love to see you tuning in to the Ringer Gambling Show. We are here. We are live, and we are always going to be back on Tuesdays, making fun of our picks, celebrating our wins, laughing again at our losses. And we appreciate everybody joining in and tuning in. And again, we'll probably have some more Bill Belichick talk, in the coming weeks, Sal.
Woohoo!
It's going to be a good time. We appreciate you watching, and we will see you later in the week.